Alright, what is up guys? Action Figure Addict 112 here, and we are going to be taking a look at the Mattel WWE Elite Legend Series 9, The Undertaker. So, this is not my first Undertaker figure in my collection. This is actually, technically this is my third Undertaker, since this is my third different Undertaker, but because I have three of the WrestleMania 35 Heritage Series Undertakers, this is technically my fourth in the collection, and I have been looking for this guy for probably the last few weeks. I've been checking the two targets near me, and I didn't see this wave at all, and I decided to go today because I had to get biofreeze for my knees because I have bad knees. I'm pretty sure I have bad knees. So I went in to get that, but I went to check the toy aisle just in case, and I plugged in the DCPI for this Undertaker, and for some reason it showed availability unknown, and it said that there were none in the back room, so I said okay. I went over to the regular Elite section, and I was looking, I saw the Nikolai Volkov, so I knew at some point they had all of this wave, and I was looking, they had AEW figures, surprisingly. All figures that I had already. And so I was looking, and I saw that they had the Elite 82 Finn Balor, so I was originally going to get that, but then as I was about to leave the aisle, I turned my head and I looked, and there was a Rio and there was another figure behind it, and so I moved that Rio, and there was this Undertaker, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, you're coming home with me today, like, I'm not leaving your ass behind. So yeah, I got him for regular price, surprisingly. So if you are looking for this figure, just be patient, just keep, popping in when you can, because trust me, they're gonna go back in stock in Targets. Just give it some time, and they'll pop back up. Don't go on eBay and pay, $50-$60 for him. Don't do any of that, stupid shit. Don't do that. Just be patient, wait, and he'll show up. He'll show up in Target, trust me. I had the same issue with Eddie, the Legend Series Eddie Guerrero, and I went into Target one day and they had one sitting on the pegs, and I bought it that day. So just be patient, they'll show back up. So as you can see, Harley's not a huge she's should say she's a little bit fearful of the Undertaker at this moment, so I'm gonna move her out of the way and we're gonna actually focus on this Undertaker. So with that being said, now that she's out the way, we can talk about this Undertaker. So this Undertaker is based off of his attire from the 1994 Royal Rumble. This is what he wore when he took on Yokozuna in the casket match, and I love this attire for the Undertaker. This is probably one of my favorite color schemes for the Undertaker, besides his 1990 Survivor Series debut colors with the the gray gloves, the gray boot covers, and then just the gray tie and the black hat with the leather duster coat. I love that look. Even the WWF Hasbro version of that Undertaker is really nice. I've always loved that black and gray color scheme for Taker, but my second favorite, besides the classic all black, is the black and purple, because it's two colors that mix so well together, and to see it on the Undertaker, it's just so nice. It's so nice. And the way that Mattel did this is such a nice job too. Now, this isn't the first time that we're getting the 1994 Royal Rumble Undertaker. This is actually technically the second iteration of this figure. The first one was from the Mattel Legends, what was it called? The Flashback series, that's what it was. It was the Flashback series Undertaker. And with that one, we got like a hard rubber coat, and we didn't get the alternative hands, and they didn't start doing the True FX at that time. But, and then we got a molded on like plastic kind of soft rubber tie. Here we're getting soft goods tie that you can actually take off, just like the Decade of Domination one. We're getting a different material for the duster, but it's very similar to the Decade of Domination one. And of course we're getting the different hat, because this one has the purple trim, while the Decade of Domination one for some reason had the gray trim, even though if we're going by accuracy, the Survivor Series 1990 Undertaker did not have the gray trim around the hat. He just had the black hat like he has had for the past few years. So I don't know why they gave him that, but if I decide to add that Undertaker to my collection, or I get the opportunity to add that Undertaker to my collection, I'll definitely bring that back up. You know, if I decide to do a review of it whenever that time comes. But for this one, he is really nicely done. I'm definitely surprised with Mattel with this, and surprisingly, no QC issues with this Undertaker. You guys already know I have QC issue problems with wrestling figures that I buy. Usually from Mattel, I have had several instances in the past where I've had QC issues, but surprisingly with this Undertaker I've had no QC issues. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at his paint and his sculpt. So I'm going to move the camera up a little bit closer and we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So in terms of his paint, and well, we'll look at the paint first. So I'll take the hat off here, and I'll go ahead and I'll take the coat. Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take the coat off real quick. So give me a second, I'll do a little jump. Okay, so now that I took the coat off, it should be easier to see everything. So in terms of the paint, there really isn't a lot of paint on this figure. There is on the sides of the boot covers, but everything is kind of molded in plastic, in like purple plastic, especially for the gloves. These pieces here are separate pieces, just like on the Decade of Domination one. And the tie, like I said, is on that elastic band, so you can take it off if you want. What I want to focus on though is this head. This head sculpt is absolutely gorgeous. And you know, I usually don't say that, but it is really nicely done. He does have, you know, kind of the wet, you know, strands of hair here, but if you move that up, there's that really nicely done sculpt for Taker, and it looks like a young Mark Calloway. It's just really nice. They actually have the True FX right. The eyes look straight, beard looks like it's filled in, eyebrows look good, nothing looks off, so I'm surprised. And then with the hair in front of it, it just looks so cool. At this time, this is when the Undertaker started getting tatted up, so as you can see, there's a lot of tattoos on his arms, and those look fantastic. So nicely done decals there, Mattel. Nothing looks, you know, out of place. If I can get it to focus here, I don't know why I'm having issues focusing on these tattoos. There we go. So yeah, really nicely done on that. And then the body is, I don't think this is a new body. I was gonna say this is the Decade of Domination one, but it's not, because that one has like the tattered up sleeves. So this may just be the Flashback series Taker that we got, but just with the better tattoos and stuff like that. So this may be a reused body, but as you can see, the gloves are really nicely done. Like I said, they are that they are that purple plastic. So like I said, this part is separate, so if you pop the gloves, these hands, if you pop these hands off, since we're in the stage of interchangeable hands now, if you pop these hands off, you can actually take these glove parts off. So, but they are essentially the same as the Decade of Domination Undertaker. And same with the boot covers as well. Just pretty much the same thing going on there, but I do love the silver designs here on the boots. They're really, really nicely done. So I like the way that looks. And then of course you have his black boots. So overall, not a super amount of detail, but then again, it is the Undertaker, and during the 90s, I would say pretty much throughout his 30 years, he hasn't been a very, extreme designed character. It's just been very simplistic. So I do like that they, gave us the details that needed to be there, and that was that. So again, I really do like that this tie is soft goods. It just adds a lot to the character. And like I said, you can take it off. I'm going to keep it on though, because I'm going to mostly be displaying him with the coat. But with that being said, I'm going to set him here, and we're going to take a look at his accessories now. He does come with a black elbow pad. I did take it off because I was using, I took it off because of a picture I took earlier of him kind of lowering his hat. Which, speaking of his hat, here it is. It's the usual Undertaker hat that we get, except it has that dark purple trim around the hat. So, or I guess around the band of the hat, so that's really nicely done. That's the first time I've ever owned an Undertaker figure with that. He does come with the mask that he was wearing during that time, because if you remember right, in the King of the Ring match, King Mabel actually broke the Undertaker's facial bone or something like that. It was one of the bones in his nose or his face, and he had to get surgery done, and because of that, he had to wear a protective mask to protect his face from getting damaged anymore. So instead of giving him a boring generic face mask, they gave him this really cool kind of Phantom of the Opera mask, and it has like some cracks in it and stuff like that, and it just looks really, really cool, and some wrinkles and stuff like that. And you can actually put it on his face. I'll go ahead and do that now. So then you can see what that looks like. You kind of have to finagle it right between the sides of his thing and make sure that his eyes are lined up too. Otherwise it looks kind of weird. Yeah, there you go. So that's what that looks like right there. His when you do that, his hair kind of sticks out a lot more. So if you do want that look, there you go. That's what that looks like. So set that back there. You do get an alternative set of hands, which are a set of mic holding hands, or if you want him to hold a chair or something, you can do that. So I'm glad they're giving us these more now, because for the longest time I've been asking Mattel to give us a Jeff Hardy with these hands, and they always seem to give us the fist and the finger gun hands, which is very frustrating because then he can't hold anything. But with the Amazon exclusive Jeff Hardy, the Ultimate Edition one that's coming out, we're getting mic holding hands, so that's great. So there's that. Like I said, the elbow pad, which I took off, but he does have it. It is on his left side, but I took it off in terms of the picture. And then of course you get this beautifully done soft goods duster coat, which is in a matte black fabric. And Mattel has had too many damn excuses over the past few years as to why they can't just give us soft goods all the time. But when it comes to certain figures, they're able to give us that. But all around, we should already be getting soft goods off the bat. Um, with the Elite 83 Edge, we got soft goods. With this Undertaker, we got soft goods. With the Decade of Domination Undertaker, we got soft goods. But we did not get soft goods with the Collector's Edition Undertaker. We got that awful hard plastic coat, and if you pose them like that, it just doesn't look right. So for the love of God, guys, I know that there's a budget and stuff like that, but if you need to cut out other stuff in order to give us soft goods, for the love of God, just give us soft goods. Especially since a lot of us, take pictures and stuff like that, and do toytography and stuff with our figures, and we can't pose them for shit without soft goods. So we have to go to third parties and spend more money to get the right soft goods for these figures, and that's ridiculous and is kind of uncalled for in my opinion. But you know what, that's just my way of thinking, and Andy and I have said it multiple times, so it's not like this is a new thing, but it is really nice. I'll go ahead and I'll put this jacket on him, and I'll do another little jump cut here. Okay, so this is what he looks like with all of his accessories on. I did not put the elbow pad back on yet. I will do that after the review, but anyway, this is what the figure looks like with all of his accessories. I think he looks absolutely fantastic. Especially with the mask too. I mean, if you take the mask off, it still looks great, but when you add the mask, it really brings out that look more from Royal Rumble 1994. Or no, I'm sorry, I believe it was 1995. Actually, yeah, it's the 1995 Royal Rumble. I don't know why I said 94. It's the 1995 Royal Rumble. Is what this is from, but anyway, yeah, this figure looks absolutely beautiful, just absolutely well done. Again, there are very few times where I give Mattel props for, them actually putting in the effort, and this right here, this shows, this is Mattel putting in effort, okay? So I will give them props for that shit. Now, there are many times where Mattel doesn't even try, and that is the case where I need to call them out on their bullshit. So, with that being said, I will go ahead and I will compare this Undertaker to one of my other favorite Undertakers that I have, which is the WrestleMania. Hang on a minute. The WrestleMania 35 Heritage Series Undertaker. Figure out where the hell he just. There he is. So this is the other Undertaker figure that I have. When I got the first one, since I got all three of them complete, I did not decide to review this figure. However, I do have all the accessories for him, so I don't know. I may do a review of him. I don't know. We'll see. But this is what the WrestleMania 35 Undertaker. I'm sorry. Technically it's from the Heritage series, but it is. If you're wondering what exact WrestleMania this Undertaker is from, this is from WrestleMania 33, and that I'm about to show you. And so, I'm gonna kind of have to play with the coat a little bit here. Well, I don't know why, but it bunches up. Oh, because it was here. Okay. There we go. So, this is what the WrestleMania Heritage series for WrestleMania 35, this Undertaker looks like next to this Legend Series 9 Undertaker. So, even though this Undertaker is from, an awful match with Roman Reigns, well, it wasn't an awful match, it was just a match I didn't really like. But this Undertaker is absolutely beautiful. I am gonna try to hunt down the collector's edition Undertaker and get that in my collection. I'm gonna try to get maybe 2 of them if I can, or because I do want, my plan is to get an Undertaker figure, whether this is taking one of my extra WrestleMania 35 Undertakers or getting the collector series one, getting like 2 of those, and painting the beard and the hair gray on it, so that I have a, like, what in my opinion should have been, the final look for the dead man, showing that, the 30 years that he's been doing this character in the WWE, from, the Hulkamania era all the way, to his final match at WrestleMania 36. Um, that would be my look for the Undertaker personally. So that is probably what I'm going to go with for that. And yeah, that's what these two look like together. And I will go ahead and do a little size comparison here. So if you want him next to a women's figure, this is him next to my Elite 72 Becky Lynch. I did modify one of these knee braces that I bought off of eBay. I'm currently trying to do one for Seth Rollins here, but I did do one so I have like a final like 2019 Becky Lynch there, and yeah, it ended up turning out great. At some point I'll sit down and do a video showing off all these little fix-ups and stuff like that I've done, and then we'll do the Ultimate Edition Edge here, since these two have had a hell of a rivalry. Timmy is probably most likely waiting on this review for this Edge. I do need to pull out my Lita. I'm going to probably do that tomorrow, pull out my Lita from my little tub of figures that I have, and I will have those two side by side so you can see, an Edge and a Lita from, when she was with Edge during that time. But yeah, that's what those two look like. And yeah, that is pretty much going to wrap up my review of this. Well, you know what? We will do one last figure. You know what? I think we should compare him to an AEW figure, and what better person to compare him to than Mr. Freshly Squeezed himself, Orange Cassidy. So with that being said, that is going to do it for this review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. I do have plenty of wrestling figures that I need to sit down and review. The last review that I shot before this one was the Boss Fight Studios Lucha de la Muerte set, so I will need to go and edit that video and put that up so that you guys can check that out, because that is a pretty cool pack, and I am trying to spread the word with Boss Fight Studios, because if you collect wrestling figures, I highly recommend checking out some of the accessory packs that they're doing for the Lucha Libre stuff. I am not at all sponsored by Boss Fight Studios. I wish I was, but getting both packs in hand and seeing the quality, and seeing the quality is there, I can't help but just want to spread the word and have more people check that stuff out, especially since I don't know how much longer they're going to have that stuff in stock, because what they had told me when I asked them whenever the weapons packs were going back up was that once the weapons packs and the Phoenix and the Pentagon Jr. sell out, that's it. Like, they're not making any more for Wave 1, that's it. They're closing up shop, and then they're moving on to Wave 2. So, like, once that stuff is gone, it's gone. They're not making any more of them, and they're going to probably do more weapons packs in Wave 2 and so on, as long as they have this license. So, with that being said, I'm gonna try to get that review up before this one, hopefully. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. So I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna end this. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to the new subscribers that decided to check out my channel. I appreciate that, and help me get closer to my my goal. Hopefully 200 is the goal for the end of the year. I want to hit at least 200. So again, thank you for pushing me a little bit closer to that goal, and thank you again for the support. I'm out.